Hi, baby. We're back on the Cooligans Living Room FC, and Christian, our guest, is here. And let me tell you something. If he's wearing the same thing you're wearing, which is what I was supposed to be wearing, I'm walking off this thing. Right?
This is incredibly awkward.
We'll
see.
What am I wearing? I don't know. What are you wearing? It's too fly of a kid to not be.
Exactly. Look, if we all wear this to prom, we all wear this to prom. It's all good.
If I throw wine on your dress, you got to throw a little bit on mine, and we throw some on this guy. Absolutely incredible. One of the absolute best goalkeepers in MLS. And in fact, Christian and I were there, and we saw with our own eyes one of the greatest saves ever in the coldest we've ever been, because we were not prepared for the situation. You know him as your Seattle Sounders starting goalkeeper. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one, the only, a true American treasure, Stefan Frei, everybody.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Brother, what's good? Thank you so much for joining us.
What are you wearing, Stefan?
Hey, man, like you said it was too good of an opportunity to pass up to really show this beautiful jersey off to the people.
It's too fly.
I mean, the kid, the Jimi Hendrix kid from the Seattle Sounders is definitely, it took, look, and I'll say this, when it comes to MLS kits, the bar, let's be honest, is pretty low, right? It's just like
it's
everybody.
Right at white tee.
Yeah.
As long as
White or
it's not
black.
a white kit, people are like, thank heavens, it's something different.
Usually as a goalkeeper, I'm the one that gets to wear the crazy colors, and I'm super happy with that. And I don't think I ever asked my kit guy for a jersey, a field player jersey. But as soon as this one dropped, I was like, Nolan, can you get me one? I need one. It's pretty dope. So I'm happy with it.
Okay.
Which actually brings me to my first question. Have you ever swapped jerseys? And when you do you want like the outfield player kit, or do you want the other keeper kit?
There's a couple of outfield player guys, but that's more, a guy I used to play with maybe before at Toronto or somewhere else or in college or something like that. But other than that, it's usually goalkeepers, I mean, Nick Romando, I think his last game was in Seattle, and I needed to make sure I would get that one. I think I have multiple jerseys of his because I think he's a legend. But yeah, those are the ones, goalkeepers union, you got to stick together. And it's nice to have a little collection of some of the guys that have been in this league before and have done the same thing as me.
Yeah, nice. There is. I'm wondering if it's a subjective thing. Like is it a personal choice of who you want to ask a kit for? There isn't anything uncomfortable, awkward, like from a goalkeeper asking a forward or anything. Like, is there any rules or etiquette when it comes to swapping kits?
I don't know. I mean, I've never had to do it with a field player where it gets awkward. You're probably right. If I save a PK of Blanco, and then after the game I'm like, hey, I want your jersey, he'd probably like, go screw yourself, get out of here. But no, I think I've never gotten shut down. I've always asked, and then at the worst, it's like, sorry, we can't give this one away. It's going to charity or something. But
okay.
Which begs the question: the reference I made earlier was that incredible save on Josie's shot in MLS Cup final in Toronto. Which, by the way, Christian and I dressed super nice because it was the first time we ever got media passes. And it turns out we were outside. That's how low within the totem pole we were. So we were bundled up crazy. And that save warmed us up for a little bit. And we're not even Seattle Sounders fans. Did you ask Josie for that jersey? And what do you think his response would have been if you did?
I just want to go back to you guys were all bundled up. I was wearing a t-shirt and shorts, okay? Like I was
on a warm
freezing.
pitch.
Oh no, it was oh my. Honestly, the crazy thing there was we were doing warm up, and this guy comes around with a water hose spraying the whole field, and I look at my keeper coach, like, what is this guy doing? And they're like, it's MLS rules.
Hockey?
We gotta give it a little something. But
well,
the
I knew something happened because the Zamboni came out.
Yeah,
I was like, this is clearly.
I mean, the water hit the crossbar and it froze instantly on the crossbar as it hit it. It was wild, yeah. But no jersey, no Josie Altidore jersey. But I was happy we were able to take the trophy.
It has been an interesting experience for us because these two stars on this kit, we've been present for both of them, and
we stuck on the field for one of them.
It's a strange experience that we've had with the Seattle Sounders because the first MLS Cup we had the experience, it was incredibly cold. You guys, Roman Torres the penalty, it was just a wild game. And then, unfortunately, the loss the following year, and then the win at home. It's been we've talked about this on the show a little bit. Like, is this a dynasty for the Seattle Sounders? Some people say yes, some people say no. But being a part of it, being the goalkeeper that's been a part of such a successful group, how does that feel? And does the conversation of a dynasty even come up in the locker room?
I mean, I think to put a label of a dynasty on something, other people have to do that. If you're part of a good squad, then and you're going to go walk around calling yourself a dynasty, you're definitely not a dynasty. So, we're just trying to put ourselves in positions where we can win trophies, and we've been very fortunate enough to get ourselves into those positions, which, by the way, so were you guys not in Columbus, in Ohio last year? Is that your guys' fault that we didn't win that one? Or?
Possibly.
No, but I mean, it sometimes it hurts too when you have an opportunity, but you let it slip through your hands, right? I mean, we've had numerous opportunities, and that's great. But we've also let a couple slip through our hands, unfortunately. But the more opportunities you have, the more likely you'll add some more stars to it. So I'm happy that we've had them, and I want to keep having these opportunities. So I'm happy to be here.
And I'm interested in your thoughts in this, because this conversation has come up a couple of times. Probably had come up a lot more since the last MLS Cup final. Is Brian Schmetzer a great coach, right? And the question is, everyone assumes he's a good coach, but is he a great coach? You're there. I mean, he gets so much credit for the run you guys have been on since he took over mid-season when he did take over. You've been there since that happened. What are your thoughts? Talk about what do people not see with Brian Schmetzer? Because I know I asked him a silly question once and he rolled his eyes. I mean, I think he hates me. But what do you see on a day-to-day basis? Is he really is he that extra oomph that gets you guys over the hump, if you will?
I think there's numerous things that work in his favor, that he does exceptionally well. For one, he loves this club. He loves this city. I mean, I think he would die for this team if he'd have to. So that love in a sport, I mean, in a sporting world period, I think it's more and more drifting towards mercenary attitudes. I remember growing up in Switzerland where guys playing for 10 years at Bayern Munich was still happening. And nowadays, if you see someone play at a club for an extended period of time, it's very rare. So I think in this day and age, to see someone that wants to really instill that mentality that, hey, this is a special place and you really should cherish your time here, that is number one, right? I think number two, he puts a lot of onus on the players. And obviously the first year here was a bit difficult because in the middle of the season, you can't just come in and be like, all right, throw the whole playbook out and I'm going to show you some new tricks here. So I think it started there already where he said, look, we're in this deep hole, but you are the ones that will have to dig yourselves out of it. I can't do it for you. Nobody else can do it for you. We have quality here. I believe in you. You guys should believe in yourselves. So every season you have these tough moments, these dark holes, and you have to go through them. And I think he does an exceptionally good job of allowing his players to find ways to get out of the holes, and then because of that reap the rewards of feeling confident and then going on extended runs that pushes us late into the playoffs and gives us an opportunity at trophies.
Yeah, we talk about Schmetzer often, and when we say like he has like this big TV dad energy, right? Where it feels like at the end of every episode of Full House, there was advice, there was something a lesson that could legitimately help you in your life, and that's why Schmetzer feels like he offers. There's
like if he benches you the next morning, he shows up to your house and you wake up, he's making you pancakes and bacon. You know what I mean? And he has a sit down conversation with you. That's how it feels.
I haven't gotten the pancake treatment yet, but no. Sometimes too, sometimes we like to, as goalkeepers, you have to evolve constantly. And over the past few years, playing out of the back has been more and more a thing, and for an old fart like myself that has been taught, hey, when in doubt, kick it out, to have to adapt. It's difficult, right? But so one day, I'll do something well, and then the next he'll come up to me too and be like, why didn't you play out of the back there? So you never know where you're at with him at the same time. But he also, I think he knows how to toy that line, toe that line and make sure that everybody's good. And most importantly, that the players are good together, right? Because sometimes it can almost work a little bit. If someone's a little bit mad at a coach, that could be a good thing, right? As long as the team is strong together as the 18, 20, whatever we have, those are the ones that will be on the field and have to be tight. And I think he understands that really well.
Okay. All right. We got so much more to discuss with goalkeeper Stefan Frei of the Sounders, so come right back. All right, welcome back to the Cooligans Living Room FC. We are here with goalkeeper of the Seattle Sounders, Stefan Frei. And one of the things I want to talk about, because I really appreciate the especially publicly, the culture that the Seattle Sounders put out. You see a lot of stuff on social media. One of the other things I really love is when Seattle wins away, right? The Jingle Bell song that you guys do. It looks fun, clearly, but it seems like the moments like that are significant, especially because you get to celebrate, and there's a camaraderie that you don't really see from publicly from other teams. So I'm curious, when you sing that song, how does that feel? Is it like, oh, we just sang it again, here we go, or is it like, yes, this feels good to sing this at the away stadium?
So it's a great question, because I think it hits a thing that I'm kind of struggling with, and maybe this is because I'm one of the older guys and old school, but it's really great to give people an insight in these things, and I'm now at the point where I feel like certain things are sacred too, and they are a part of a team that should be kept within. So it's nice to give people a glimpse here and there. But I love it the most when you do it for your own team and the camera's not in the middle and you see the red dot is on and going around left and right, you know. So yeah, it's good that you guys see that, because I think it was meaningful. Because when I first joined here, it was Zach Scott leading that, and leading that with all his might, you know, and belting it out as loud as he could. And it's always funny when you see a new guy join the team and he may not even speak English that well, like a Yamar, you know, and he's like, what is going on? These guys are crazy, you know. But I think he quickly understands that it's a tradition, and it's something cool. It's something to be proud of. When you go down to Portland, a difficult place to play, at your rival's place, and you're able to snag 3 points, that's huge. You got to celebrate that.
Are you even able to go get a meal in Portland? Like, you must be hated there. And you're such a nice guy. Like, are you able to just like go, I don't know, go get a bagel somewhere in Portland?
I've never been to Portland outside of work. So I mean, even with Toronto, we would be stuck in the hotel there when I played with Toronto. With the Sounders, I definitely don't want to venture out. But obviously this last year has been a bit crazy, you know, and we've been flying out mornings of and flying back right after the game. So it's been a bit different, but yeah, it's a good rivalry because it's authentic. Just going back to my days in Toronto, they were dying for a rivalry, and I think they somehow created that Trillium Cup with US versus Canada. It was whatever. I think this is real, and so if that means I can't go get a bagel in Portland, so be it. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about. Obviously the season is about to begin. We'll talk a little bit, a little bit later about last season, but the preparation for this season. Last year was crazy, right? Because a pandemic starts and we don't know when games are happening. You played some games and then all of a sudden everything is changing. But now the preparation is we're a little bit more familiar with what the circumstances are going to be. So what is this preseason like for you? And now that you know, maybe we'll have some fans here and there, but simply under these conditions.
Yeah, I mean, our preseason, we tend to go somewhere, whether it be Arizona or LA. So this year we decided, no, let's just stay at home, give people a chance to stay with their families in a safe environment. We know where we're at. We wanted to go to LA to just get some games under our belt right before, but we were able to get some games up here instead. So we did that. And just looking forward to the season, yeah, I think we know what to expect. Right, because at a bare minimum, it's going to be somewhat similar to what it was last year when we kind of finally figured it out. I think that was the most challenging part last year. It wasn't the fact that we had to deal with new circumstances, but it was so many times a go and stop and go and stop, and so many restarts, and mentally that's exhausting, because you tend to spend the preseason not just physically getting ready, but also mentally getting ready for a long, grueling season. And then when all of a sudden someone pulls the plug and goes like, all right, put your feet up for a couple months and then we'll see you later. But you got to ramp up right away again.
Yeah.
You got to do that multiple times. It's difficult. So I hope we can avoid that this year. And obviously, hopefully we can finally get some fans in the stadium and just thinking of that Minnesota game at home. If we would have had some fans in the stadium, I mean, that would have been a moment. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Let's talk a little bit about the expectations for this season. Obviously, it's going to be a little different with the COVID, hopefully restrictions not being as strict as they were last time. You guys are going to get to go to different stadiums, maybe some fans at some of the stadiums. But I know that there's sort of a feeling when it gets to the playoff times, everyone's like, oh, here we go. Seattle's going to go on a run. They're going into the MLS Cup. Do you guys have the same expectations? Is it for you we're in the final or we failed?
I look at it more as we have a certain standard, and it's a very high standard. And I don't want to be part of the Sounders squad when that standard drops. If you have a high standard, that's great, but it puts more pressure on the players to maintain that. So for me, it's not you're going to get there. It's actually, it makes it more and more difficult to make sure that we do get there. I definitely don't want to be the first Sounder squad to not make the playoffs, right? I mean, that's a huge streak, and that's something to be very proud of. And something that you want to keep going, but in the back of your head, you're also thinking, there's some pressure there. You need to keep it going, right? Again, it's a good problem to have, right? I'm so blessed to have had the chance to be here for such a long time. It was actually one of the reasons why I wanted to come here, because even then, after my Toronto years, I was thinking about maybe going to Europe and trying it out there, but when this opportunity came along, it was like with their continuous success and just having those Open Cup successes and making it into the playoffs and having the fans and having high expectations and aspirations, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, when we went to, we've only been to, it was CenturyLink Field the time we went. Obviously, it's Lumen Field now. But when we were there for the final, and you always hear about it, especially in the Sounders, the Seahawks, that the decibel meter and there's a minor earthquake and all this stuff, and you're like, yeah, sure. But when we were actually
it's real.
We were in there. We were like, yo, this is dangerous. Okay.
Yeah. Has anyone checked the bolts of this place? Should we be in a doorway right now? Like, every time a goal is scored by Seattle.
Well, you mentioned, the fan base. Obviously, it's interesting because the Sounders and the Sounders fan base, ECS, there is just a rabid, and the level of support is just incredible. And then there's also this competition, even with the fan base, for Atlanta United. Atlanta United got in the league, and they're like, all right, we're the new Sounders, all right? We're trying to cause some earthquakes out here in Atlanta. But it's nice to see. And look, I can imagine ending up in Seattle and wanting to go there. Obviously, an easy decision when you see a fan base like that.
Absolutely. And, the stadium now, you see lots and lots of teams getting really nice soccer-specific stadiums, and it would be really neat to have that. But Lumen Field it's acoustically, it's such an amazing place. I remember when I played here as an opponent the first time with Toronto, and not only was I thought it was crazy, the noise, the sound, but then also the positivity of the fans. That was one thing that struck me. I remember going down to Columbus, and it would be a lot of the noise would be targeted at me, the opponent. And don't get me wrong, I think the Sounders also have some chance that target the opponent. But for the most part, it's trying to be uplifting to your team. It's a bit of a Seattle. I feel like it's a bit of a Seattle. What's the word?
Stereotype? Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah.
Everybody's nice out there.
Well, we want our neighbors to do well. I think maybe that's also why a lot of startups here do well. You're the company. Hey, my neighbor is starting this thing out. I want my sports teams playing.
You figure with all the caffeine flowing through all of you, you'd be on edge.
Lots of energy flowing around. But
we got more with Stefan Frei when we get back after this. All right, baby, we're back on the Cooligans Living Room MC, and obviously we are here still with Stefan Frei, your starting goalkeeper for the Seattle Sounders. And Stefan, we have our own supporters group. They're called the Gully Squad, and they get a chance to ask our guests questions. And this is a really good question. This is from a fan called Sean Forsyth, and he starts off with, as a Portland fan, I just want to say thanks to him. I know, right? I saw the smile. You thought it was going to be disrespectful, right? He said, I want to say thanks to him for coming over. Yeah, yeah, I know, right? Everyone buckle your seatbelts just in case. Thanks for coming over to applaud Timbers Army at the end of the Iron Front protest match in 2019. Some things are bigger than rivalries. What a class act. And how much did it take for you to do that? To go over and applaud that fan group, right? Of all fan groups. And two, any specific reason why you did that, and how was it perceived?
I think that issue, it was kind of, I think the Portland Timbers, as well as our supporters were the two groups that kind of took the lead in that. And there was collaboration between the two of them too. So immediately it was a sign that this is bigger than the game. And so I wanted to definitely commend them for that. It needs people to stand up. It's easy, especially if you're not affected. We've seen a lot of things happen over the last year, specifically, with if you're not part of a minority, there's a lot of possibilities for you to just kind of keep in your lane and not pay attention to things. But I think it's important that we do discuss these things and maybe take a stand here and there. And with that, they did that. So I wanted to commend them for that. I think we also won that game, so it was easy for me to go over and give it a clap. But I don't mean to rub that in, but no, I think it's important. Like I said, this last year has been very, very disturbing at times, and maybe it is also because we're in a day and age where everybody walks around with a cell phone, so we get this raw footage, and it's harder to ignore. And obviously right now we know that the trials are going on what happened with George Floyd on his murder. And it's sad that it needed to go this far, that we needed to see footage in our face for non-minorities to finally wake up and say, you know what, I'm going to get behind this. But we are, and job is definitely not done. Just taking a knee hasn't really achieved much at this point. So things need to keep pressing. You keep pressing, keep pushing, because this country has a lot to change for us to live up to what we want to stand for, I think.
Of course. Yeah. And credit, the Timbers and the Sounders, we've been to matches and you see it on TV, but when it comes to taking stands and having a strong stances on anti-fascism, anti-racism, anti-homophobia, all these things, they are leaders in that. Yeah, and shouts to MLS supporters. I have to applaud, because I think when it comes to, we always talk about how is MLS going to be the best league in the world and all this other stuff. But when you look at the supporters, the supporters themselves really take a stand in doing the right thing. Exactly. I have to give a shout out to them. So we got some more questions. We got a question from a Sounders fan this time. Jaron, he asked, was Stefan surprised to see his pregame pep talks recorded? Would love to know what he thinks about the fan response to them.
So that's another one, exactly right, where it was really nice, I think, to give people a glimpse into something like that. But before you know it, I'm sitting there thinking about what can I say? Should I drop all these F-bombs? Rather than thinking about, what do I want to say to my guys, So I think there's a fine line, of what is a really nice insight, and once in a while, it's good. There's been even times where it's like I told our dudes, it's like no camera today. We need to just have our own space. But the response has been fantastic. I'm a really quiet guy off the field, but I get juiced on the field, man. I get excited. I think there's a lot at stake. Anything you do, you want to win. What are we here for? Let's freaking win.
Well, when we met you in at the MLS All-Star game, we shook your hand. And I'm like, this is a dude I don't want to mess with. This dude.
Yeah. I don't
Just
think
your handshake was
I don't
intense.
think it was your hand. I think you have a shaved bear paw that you use. You tape to your hand.
It's just my cripple fingers, just because I'm a goalkeeper. So I'm sorry, I can't shake hands properly anymore. No, but it's a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, there's certain sacred things, but I'm happy that people got a small insight into what we do in a team huddle, and I'm happy that the response has been great.
We'll know you're censoring yourself if you're like, come on, you mother. Everyone's a mother, right? People have mothers.
Yeah.
You don't say the whole word.
Yeah.
This is Kevin Brothers, who's also a massive Seattle Sounders fan. He wants to know your thoughts on the U.S. men's national team. Obviously, they just had a little bit of a rough loss in Olympic qualifying there. And also, what are the chances you'll be included going forward? And if not everyone knows, you became an American citizen in 2017. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What are we thinking? Huh?
Oh,
have you talked to Berhalter?
I'm like 50 at this point, so it's not I don't think it's gonna happen. But I don't know. I think that I'm still trying to get my thoughts together on what just happened with the U23s and with the national team. But the things that I was thinking is like, for too long, I feel like the national team has been an experiment, and it's been we're going to try to properly do this and that. Let's win games. Let's go and get into Olympics. I don't care how we do it. It doesn't. Sometimes I think the MLS and maybe U.S. soccer, we try to bypass some steps. We want to be a top 5 league right away. Well, you have to become a selling league first. You have to go through these stages before you can be a top 5. I think the national team is the same way. What an amazing experience it would have been for these young guys to go to Olympic and a platform and experience. And then you can start talking about, you see different things and then maybe you can evolve. But now we experimented, and because of that, we bit ourselves in the butt again, I feel like, a little bit. So it's difficult to see.
All right. We have more with Stefan Frei, everybody. So come right back. All right, we did it again. Another one in the book. Thank you so much to Sounders goalkeeper Stefan Frei for joining us. Yes, you are our
Legend.
First Sounders player on the show. It is an absolute honor. I'm excited to, again, the MLS season is coming back. Opening night, April 16th, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Seattle Sounders taking on Minnesota. So I'm excited to see that. But Stefan, is there anything you want to mention before we sign off?
Well, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. It was a pleasure. And just to everybody watching out there, stay healthy. I think this pandemic has been crazy. We're not out of it yet. Stay safe. Keep wearing a mask. Get vaccinated if you can. And stay sane mentally. For me, I do my art like that one behind. So get something that gets you going and keep you sane. If you want to follow my art stuff, it's stefan24frei.com, where I will have prints like this one behind me available. But just make sure you stay sane and you take care of yourselves and your loved ones.
Okay.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's beautiful art. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the site right now. It's absolutely gorgeous work. Okay. It's amazing what you've managed to do with those hands that have to stop,
Right.
set 80 mile per hour shots.
You probably got the thickest paintbrushes for those hands. He's
Like the callous fingers, yeah.
So everybody, make sure you follow us as well at Soccer Cooligans on all social media platforms. Follow at Fubo Sports and subscribe to the Fubo Sports YouTube channel for full episodes of the show. Okay, Mr. Frei, we are now. It is time for your Golazo gift. How would you celebrate a goal? You can do whatever you want.
Last minute of the match, in extra time, you ran up. Schmetzer's like, get up there, Stefan. And you scored a header on a corner for the last play of the match against the Portland Timbers.
I was so close. About 3 years ago, I came up against Dallas in Dallas, and I actually hit the header and freaking sightsee with an amazing save in the upper V. But what I would have done is, when I play FIFA on my Xbox, I always celebrate with, it's like a dead fish, sort of. Like he runs and then just stops, tucks his arms in, and it flops to the ground.
Yeah.
Probably pop out my shoulder while I do it, but that's what I would do.
No, that's a great one. Yeah, because that's even at the market where they toss the fish, whatever. That's
It would be appropriate.
Okay.
That's the way to go out. Do your shoulder, be done, career over. You scored the goal. You can hang them up.
At your age, we'll call that the 4 to 6 weeks.
Amazing. So, Stefan Frei, thank you so much for joining us. Again, best of luck this season. Look, if it's an MLS Cup final, the Sounders will probably be there. We're already used to it. That's what we pretty much expect all the time. All right, so let us end the show the way we normally do, as is tradition. So for Stefan Frei, my name is Christian Polanco.
I'm Alexis Guerreros.
And together, what are we?
The Cooligans.